Welcome to Flyby Films. I'm your host, Blake Collier, and with me tonight is my co host, Jamison Barsotti, formerly known as Barsotti. How you doing, Jamison?
I'm doing great, Blake. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
I'm doing so much better than last time.
Oh
I'm
man, no
feeling
kidding.
feeling alive, feeling healthy again.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like we were both talking pre recording that we were both feeling much better, but we both had a little bit of a cough.
yeah, just a tiny bit, but yes, yeah, I'm doing a lot better.
Beautiful. Are you drinking anything interesting tonight? Because you had a nice little concoction last week. Little
I
Dayquil and hot toddy.
yeah, yeah, I had Dayquil and hot toddy, which was fine. I think I didn't have the senses to really appreciate it because I was sick. But today I'm just drinking decaf coffee with
Oh,
some
nice.
with some creamer in it.
So we're switching places because I had been saving this for a special occasion. I figured, why not? I mean, we're talking about Dark City tonight, one of Jameson's favorite movies, apparently. I did not know this. So I'm excited to talk about it. I bought a little small thing of Irish whiskey from
Ooh.
Ireland called
Ooh.
Teeling's Irish whiskey, and it is quite lovely. I got another one called the Irishman, and it was rough. This one, however, is very, very smooth and very nice. So I highly recommend Teeling's if you find it, which chances are not great in America. So,
So Blake, I feel like I have to ask you, do you
mhm.
prefer it smooth or do you prefer it rough?
um, oh, I've always been about the smooth. I'm a smooth criminal, so
All right, all
I'm just
right.
gonna let that one sit there with all of the baggage that it has as a song, and I'm just gonna let it
I
sit.
have I have a confession. I like the Alien Ant Farm version of that
Oh,
song.
you and me both. I actually
Yeah.
like it better than the original.
Yeah, I think
So
it
sue me.
I yeah. I don't think they were a good band, but they
Oh
made a
no.
good song,
And the
right?
video is hilarious.
I I have images of the video. I remember when it was playing on MTV, but I can't quite recall what the cohesive story of it was.
Yeah. There was none. It was mainly just a bunch of really wild images, and they made fun of Michael Jackson, and it was kind of funny. Like they had the whole like light up step thing on the sidewalk, and so they
Mm.
were dancing like Michael Jackson across it, and it would light up. And of course, he jumped on a car and did the whole pelvic thrust with his arm in the air, and the like windows shatter out of the car. And then he's got like there's one point where he's holding a monkey in his lap, which is that's symbolic.
I
So
think that is beyond me.
it's you got a monkey in your lap, Jameson.
Yeah, the monkey in the room in the lap.
Do you ever shock the monkey? Do you ever have a brass monkey?
Sometimes I eat chunky monkey.
Oh, me too.
I didn't think we were going to be talking about Alien Ant Farm at the very beginning of the show.
or or really Beastie Boys or Peter Gabriel, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah,
Although I
Peter
love Peter
Gabriel.
Gabriel. That's
Ugh. Blake, we were doing so well. We've been texting all week about things that we like and we're both in sync
you
with.
don't like Peter Gabriel? Don't tell me
Oh,
you're a Phil Collins guy.
no, I'm neither.
Oh, you don't like prog
Genesis
rock.
can suck a dick. Um, sorry, sorry. I, to be completely honest, I don't care that much. And yes, they have some good songs and it's fine. I'm just I feel like I missed the Genesis Peter Gabriel part of life where you become a fan of them. And then I met my wife, and she and her family are the biggest Genesis nerds. Like her entire family goes to every reunion tour, and
Wow.
they
See,
like,
see, you don't understand because I have a grudging respect for Genesis, but here's my ranking. Peter Gabriel, highest on the list. A good chunk down, Genesis. Another chunk down, Phil Collins. That's like Peter
you
Gabriel is my guy.
you
Like,
didn't love the Tarzan soundtrack.
no, but I don't like Disney soundtracks in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
So, um, yeah, I like Peter Gabriel because he was willing to do some crazy ass shit, and I respect musicians who do crazy ass shit. I mean, anyone who's willing to let Brian Eno into their life gets a little bit of respect because Brian Eno is batshit crazy. So,
Yeah. And I believe Peter Gabriel was one of the big champions of Kate Bush, who
yep.
is someone that I really like. I really like Kate Bush.
Hmm.
I like Kate Bush's music much more than Peter Gabriel's music. But
That's an interesting question to diverge slightly. Are you a Stranger Things fan?
I stopped watching it after season two.
I
I
stopped watching it after season three,
Okay, but
and I didn't really
yes,
enjoy two or three. So,
I liked the first one,
oh, I love the
and
first season.
I really enjoy the music of the
Oh,
series.
yes. Survive is awesome.
Survive, yeah.
Yeah,
And I do appreciate, even though every time I hear the song on TikTok or whatever, I do appreciate that Kate Bush is back in the
yeah,
in the culture. But every time I hear it, I have to fight the bit of me that's like, I liked her before this, because
yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's part of what I was going to ask if you had seen the newest season because apparently there's a really big scene that running up the hill is being played
yeah,
and it's a really on the nose, like we're like really on the nose. And the fact that Kate Bush let them use it was apparently pretty impressive. Um, so yeah, I was more curious. It was more of a
yeah,
random tangent. So,
yeah. My experience with Kate Bush was that my dad and I have kind of different, you know, had he's passed now, but we had different um, perspectives on music. But he had a huge vinyl collection, and that was basically the only thing like of of his stuff that I was able to get.
mm,
Um, and and I have his vinyl collection, and I was going through it, and Kate Bush was one of the bright spots in it too,
nice.
where I was like, whoa. And it took me by surprise completely, because it it really doesn't match up with some of his other tastes.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of scorpions and and weird hair metal. There's
That's funny.
like, yeah, it's a weird, interesting collection. There are some gems in it too, I do
Well,
have
that's
to
like my.
say.
It was like my dad. My dad was the prototypical classic rock vinyl collection, like
Hmm.
Iron Butterfly, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And then all of a sudden you find Gordon Lightfoot and Jim Croce, and you're like, oh, weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean, I have a feeling that your dad and my dad probably had very similar
Yeah,
music
I would
tastes.
imagine so. They were of a similar time period too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I yeah, I like what I've heard of Kate Bush. I just haven't spent much time with her. It's been on my list to do for a while though. So maybe this will give me the impetus to give her some exploration time. So,
Yeah, yeah. Hounds of
Because I've
Love is a great
yeah,
record.
that's
That's
what
the
I've heard.
one
I've heard that's like
with
the one you start with.
yeah. There's there's like I think it's called The Dreaming. It's she's like taking acid on the album cover or something like that. That one is even more, batshit kind of weird than Hounds of Love. Uh, but it's good. There's some
Nice.
good music. Um,
Hey, I'm down. I may even try some tomorrow. You never know.
oh, and her most recent album is don't listen to it now. It's more for wintertime, but it's
Okay.
these really like long songs about falling in love with snowmen, and it's very bizarre. It's
Wow.
a lot more toned down,
Yeah.
not quite as sporadic as some of
Gotcha.
her other stuff, but it's worth your time.
Nice.
It's good.
I'll give it
So
a shot.
yeah, I guess on this topic of music, I was curious if you've been listening to anything recently.
Yeah, so I think I talked to you briefly about this. I was trying to get you to listen to some of it, but I've been going through the Ghost Box Records releases from the first one on. Kind of basically been listening to one a day, um, which, if anyone who knows the term hauntology, it's this really fancy term that basically deals with how the past consumes the present. And Mark Fisher, a author I really like, um, viewed the idea of hauntology as basically the end of history as music. So, like, his idea was that if you look at electronic music past like 2000, uh, it hasn't actually progressed because the technology has not progressed. And so, what we're seeing now with electronic music is basically just like the past rearing its head in different ways. It's like this retro kind of retrograde element of music. Now, there's a whole lot more to it than that. I'm simplifying it, but he would basically say that music on some level has to die, and you end up getting just a bunch of retro sounds once a genre dies, which I think is a pretty strong argument for at least a lot of genres. So definitely for pop. I mean, find pop music these days that doesn't have some 80s element to it. It's hard to do. So,
Yeah, a lot of pop music I feel like is just a conglomeration now
mhm.
of past things. There's new sounds obviously, but you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and to get back to Ghostbox Records, basically what these musicians do is loop. They use a lot of feedback loops. They use a lot of 19, I believe it's 1940s, 1950s British tea music. So like big band stuff from like the British. It's a very British genre. Um, and they have kind of that in the background. There's one artist called The Caretaker, who did a whole album tracking uh, the beginnings to the very end of a person who has dementia. It's like 6.5
Mm,
hours long, but it's wordless. But it's like distortion. The like he starts out with these like really dreamy like big band like British like Al Bowley from like Shining fame, like the really big band music you hear in The Shining. So
yeah,
that's the kind
yeah.
of stuff he's working with, and he like loops that and does stuff with it, and then you just start getting more and more distortion as the records go on, and gets pretty crazy. Um, so like it's basically just dealing with memory and how the past uh, continues to consume the future in various
Yeah,
ways. So
so the caretaker that seems familiar. I feel like there's an album cover with a boulder on it
Yep,
or
that's the one.
something. Is that the
That's the
one you're
one.
talking about? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's one of
Yeah.
the covers. So technically, it was like a six. There were six stages to the album. They were released at different times, but um, yeah, finally he collected them all when they were finished, and now it's like a 50 song, 6.5 hour. And it's a TikTok phenomenon apparently, where like it's a challenge for people to like listen to the whole thing and like in one sitting. So
Yeah, I guess that's a challenge. I've found I've listened to a little bit of this and I found it's really good background music, but to kind of understand it, you have to pay more attention
yeah,
and you have to, So I could see that being a big challenge if
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 you're
you're
actually taking it
trying,
seriously. Yeah,
yeah, if you're trying to take it seriously. Yeah.
no, that
That's
makes
cool.
sense. So I've been listening to that, and then um, I go into weird spaces where I'll listen to jazz, or a couple of days in a row, and then I'll because I've always struggled with jazz, and so I'm always trying to get into it. And so whenever the new like album that gets a lot of praise comes out, that's jazz oriented, I try to listen to it to kind of get into it a little bit. And there's been a couple things that have come out lately that have at least intrigued me, but outside of that, I like to dig into older music most of the time. Stuff like Kate Bush, Peter Gabriel, of stuff like that. Stuff that you wouldn't normally like. It's not cool to listen to these days. So, well,
Yeah.
at least it wasn't for Kate Bush
Yeah, I
before.
was I was gonna say you can go viral on TikTok now with
Exactly.
with
So
Kate Bush. So
yeah, but yeah, that's basically what I've been listening to. What have you been listening to?
that that sounds really cool. I'm very excited to get more into hauntological music.
Yeah.
Uh, I've been listening to a lot of emo music lately, I
Yes.
guess. I am an emo boy at heart. But I don't like emo like Taking Back Sunday or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I
Dashboard Confessional.
yeah, I was never really into that. I was more into like screamo.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Every
yeah,
Time I Die.
yeah. All of this stuff doesn't make me sound any cooler. Um, it just makes me sound dorkier. But
I was always a Dillinger Escape Plan fan.
oh man, I love the Dillinger Escape Plan. They're great. I
Yeah.
saw them once play in Chico, which is my hometown, and uh, Greg Puciato spit fire, and it was just so rad. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, I think
Whoa.
he wasn't allowed to. I think they were like banned from the Senator Theater, which is where they played after that. But you know,
Dang.
but it was fun. Um, but yeah, so I've been listening to. Well, this week has been a very sad week for my emo heart, and I'll explain that in a second. On Saturday, this past Saturday, Friday and Saturday actually, the band Me Without You
Ah,
played
yes.
their final two shows. And Me Without You has been my favorite band for probably, well, I saw them almost 20 years ago. It was the very first time I saw them in 2003. They were on tour with Norma Jean,
Yeah.
and it just
Norma
blew
Jean.
it blew my mind. It blew
Yeah.
my mind when I saw them. So,
Did you know
uh,
that that's how I got to know who Me Without You was? Is that first Norma Jean album?
yeah, yeah, same.
Yep.
Memphis will be laid to waste.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And actually, uh, the band who has the Norma Jean singer Josh
The Chariot?
Scoggins. Well, not the
No,
chariot. He's not in the
not the
chariot
Chariot.
anymore.
Because
He's
they're
in
dead.
yeah, the long live the chariot.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
um, Chariot's great,
Yeah,
but
they're really good.
68 is his new band. So Me Without You took 68 on tour for one of their final, legs of their final tour. And during that time, they actually played that
Oh
Norma
man.
Jean song, and
Jeez.
I know I haven't watched, so I bought the streams for the Me Without You shows. I haven't been able to sit down and watch them, but I know that they play that song. Like Josh
Oh.
came and he performed it with them on stage, so I'm very excited about that.
The only thing that could have made that better is if randomly Dan Smith came into it somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
And
know
they did
how
that
that would
chariot
fit.
song.
Yeah, how that would fit with the Me Without You songs, but yeah. But the final shows, David Eugene Edwards opens for them,
Oh
and he
wow.
plays some Woven Hand songs.
Good
Uh,
lord.
yeah, the
Which
the
I am wearing the shirt.
yeah, the listeners don't know, but Blake is wearing a Woven Hand shirt right now. A very cool Woven Hand shirt.
A woven hand shirt that Jamison has as well.
Yes, yeah, has an elk on it. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty rad.
It is.
I've been listening to some Me Without You,
Mm-hmm.
just reminiscing, remembering
Morning.
them. Morning,
Yeah.
hoping it's good morning because no one's dead, and I still have those Me Without You albums, and I
Yeah.
wish the best for them. So
And
it's great.
you always kind of hope that a band quits before they get bad.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I can be so happy. Like their last album was very good. Untitled, it's a
Mm-hmm.
very good album and some of their best music. And so they definitely went out still a
Yep.
great band.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not like the Rolling Stones or Genesis or something like that, burning out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, no. Um, but I've been listening to them. I've been trying to find some like newer emo music that is to kind of my taste. There was this band that I found on Bandcamp called Asian Glow. They're based in Seoul. Um,
Yeah.
it's just
That's good.
it's like Gen Z stuff, but it reminds me of things that I like, and I see new ideas popping up in it. You know,
Mm.
it's kind of it's very chaotic, and there's a lot of noises in
Yeah.
it, which is kind of fun. Um, but it's also pretty well constructed, good stuff. It
Yeah.
it's hitting some nostalgic spots for me. It's really reminding me uh of this label that I really enjoyed called Lujo Records. So there were a lot of
Yep.
lot of
Long live Lujo.
long live Lujo. There were a lot of emo bands that I liked on that label that kind of got me started on some underground things and other things. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so listeners may not know this, but pretty much the other part of my music listening habits is I just look at whatever Jamison has bought on Bandcamp and I listen to that because I know it's going to be wild, whatever it is. It's either going to be wild or really like singer songwriter tame, one or the other.
It's either wild
Uh,
or terrible, right? Yeah.
no, it's usually like singer songwriters, like bless their little emotional hearts. Like they all have a very similar shtick, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I like it, but you've heard one, you've heard most of them for the most part. So um, there are some exceptions, and I'm willing to admit that. But yeah, it's like this wide barrage of wild, crazy music, and then Damien Gerardo, and you're
Oh
like,
man,
whoa, where did that come from? It's whiplash. So
I love Damien Gerardo. I
oh, he's
will.
great, yeah.
His stories just get to my heart. Um,
You know whose stories get to my heart?
whose story?
Dan Smith.
Oh, Dan Smith is such a sweetheart. Uh, do you follow him on Instagram?
No, I don't have an
Oh,
Instagram.
he's yeah, if you ever got an Instagram, he's a good follow.
I've
He's
heard
just
he's a super sweet person.
he's just a very sweet, sweet individual, and Listener is such a you know wonderful band.
They need to put out more music.
Yeah,
It's been too
so
long.
I think I think they're still together. Just pandemic kind of
Yeah.
put everything on hold.
No, pandemic didn't affect anything at all. Yep.
Well, I think that basically covers. I've been listening to other things, but that basically covers it. So
So moral of
yeah,
the story is listen to emo and listen to Asian Glow because they
yeah.
put the soul in emo.
Oh, yes.
See,
I
I
don't know.
worked it in.
I think I mentioned it. They're based in South Korea, Seoul.
Yep. Soul, Zakaria. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was smart. It was funny. It's a
It was a
joke.
good. It was a good joke, Blake. It was a good joke.
It's a dad joke.
Yeah. So listen to Asian Glow. Listen to hauntological music. Those are your recommendations from the
Hmm.
movie podcast. Yeah.
And listen to whatever you want to listen to because music's music. Whatever does it.
Don't
Cheers.
listen to Phil Collins though.
Yeah, Phil Collins. No one gives you any respect for that.
Yeah. You're not gonna get any points for that.
But also don't listen to Oasis because they're equally bad.
I have never gotten into the Oasis thing, but
Well, they notoriously hate Phil Collins. Like
oh,
they made a thing of it several years back where they like ragged on him endlessly. And I was like, why?
well, I mean, that's kind of like what we just did. So maybe we're more like Oasis than you want to admit, Blake.
Maybe so,
We
but
are
I'm
the
still.
Oasis of podcast.
Hey, I'll take it.
But don't those guys hate each other?
Yeah.
So we're not there yet.
No,
We're not
no.
there
This
yet.
this would have to be this would have to take a very dark turn for that to happen. So we're still waiting for our one hit
Yeah, we're still waiting for our champagne supernova. Isn't that what
or
it's called?
Wonderwall.
Wonderwall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we put out our Wonderwall of episodes, episode, then we'll start worrying about our relationship.
Yeah.
We might want to start going to therapy after that point because we'll know where it's headed.
Oh, I think it's healthy for podcasters to go to therapy all the time. I think it's basically just another kind of marriage.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So this
So
this
just like
podcast is not sponsored by BetterHelp.com. Just or Think Better or any of the other online psychology places.
is
I
it
can't
called
think of
better?
any of the others. BetterHelp is one, but I can't. There's like two or three others.
Yeah. Well, like any
Yeah.
good marriage, one thing this podcast gets right is we force each other to watch movies.
Yes.
Because that definitely happens in my marriage.
Yes.
I force my wife to watch movies I like. Ah,
But I
so
feel like she generally is consenting. My wife, not so much.
hmm.
Which most of the time she doesn't watch movies with me because she refuses to watch the movies I watch. So
Well, my wife will knit and just not pay attention to the movies if she
that's
doesn't want
fair.
to watch the movie that I'm watching.
That's fair.
But I'll give her credit. She watches a lot of the movies that I watch, so
Yeah.
um, I appreciate that.
The two times y'all have come to Tulsa to hang out with us, she has watched the really crappy movies that we've watched. So
Well, maybe next time on the third time we'll let her choose, and
yeah,
then that would actually probably be a good idea.
yeah,
Instead of
I think that's a wise
forcing her
idea.
forcing her to watch Scanners 2, scan again,
Scan again,
scan again,
or or
rescan.
what was the one at the
Oh
nest
man.
about the cockroaches? That was the second one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was fun. Good
Yeah.
times. Yeah. So Jamison,
Blake.
you you chose you found an inn and you're like, I can I can get this movie that's a favorite of mine in this podcast at the ground floor. Dark City. Tell me
Yep.
about it. What's your background with this? Why is
Okay.
it your favorite movie or one of your favorite movies?
Oh man, I I rewatched this again, and it's been a couple years, but this movie, I remember the first time I watched this movie, it was everything. It was just I was just taken with it. Um, I had this movie on VHS.
Oh
That's
man,
that's how deep it goes. I bought it from like uh, a video store that was going out of business, and I was like, "Oh, this is the one copy of Dark City in my town. I own it." I felt so special. But Dark City, so Dark City, to kind of paint a picture, Dark City came out at the end of the 90s, so 1998, and it came out at a time when you had a lot of these movies being released, like Existence and Dark
Strange
City,
Days.
Strange Days, and The Matrix. So The
Mm-hmm.
Matrix comes out later. And a lot of these movies had this approach where it was like the world isn't what it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in the movie, the rug would be pulled out, um, and you'd take the red pill, and you'd see the world for what it is,
Yeah,
um, and this was actually pretty popular in the late 90s.
it was huge.
It was huge. It was huge, and and a lot of those movies were actually pretty good. Um, to varying degrees, and some of them don't always hold up as much anymore. But Dark City is definitely my favorite of that crop.
Yeah,
And um, so Dark City, it opens up. Also, I just want to point out there's a lot of twists and turns in this movie. If you want to watch it before we give away spoilers, we're not gonna hold back on spoilers,
no.
so pause
Mm-mm.
the podcast and watch Dark City, I guess.
And you know
But
what? You know what? If you're that concerned about spoilers, I feel sorry for you.
yeah, don't worry
if it's
about
a,
it.
if it's a good movie, it'll be a good movie regardless of whether you know what happens or not.
Yes, yeah. And this movie, I think it's a good movie. I still enjoy it every time revisit it. So it opens up. You have this man. He wakes up. It's Rufus Sewell, who's a weird looking dude, but it's Rufus Sewell. He was most recently in M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Which was
Uh,
a classic, a stone cold classic.
uh,
I'm
it was
just
not
kidding.
a
It was
it was not a
horrible.
good movie. Um, it was yeah, it was fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I would have enjoyed it if it wasn't me going to see a movie in theater for one of the first times since the pandemic, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh,
That
so
sucks. Yeah,
excited.
that sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, so Rufus Sewell, he wakes up in this room. There's a dead body. uh, he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have a memory of the situation, and he runs off. And then he starts talking to people who seem to know him. Um, he leaves the hotel, and the hotel um, clerk, you know, tells him he owes him money and that he only paid for 3 weeks, and he's just trying to figure out what is going on.
Hmm.
And the whole film, you know, as you kind of get settled into it, you notice it's very noir. It's very dark, dark city. Um, and then it starts kind of this mystery where this man is trying to kind of figure out who he is, but at the same time, you have these detectives. who are searching for him.
One played by William Hurt, who is one of the greatest
Yes,
actors alive.
yes. Um, so you have William Hurt and a whole gaggle of other detectives who are searching for a, a murderer, a serial killer, and they think it's him. But uh, there's some weird things like when he wakes up from the room, he saves a goldfish and he saves it from dying, and they're like, why would a murderer care about a goldfish? You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it gets you kind of thinking about things like that. So that's kind of how it's set up, and then pan away, and then you see the most beautiful face you've ever seen in history. Not William Hurt's, but my personal, well, probably the second or third crush
Whoa.
that I
Oh,
ever
whoa.
had.
Whoa.
Hollywood crush.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Second, you can't just be like the most glorious face,
No,
probably
no,
my second or third.
no. This is
That's a
my
Trump move right there.
this is my first, but not in chronological order.
Oh.
First Hollywood crush was definitely April O'Neil, uh, blanking on her name, but from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Mm-hmm.
movies. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
Megan
that's
Fox. That's fine.
no, not Megan
I'm just
Fox.
messing with you. I'm just messing.
Oh man.
She was the one in the new one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
I
Uh,
was giving you a hard time, bro.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Don't ever disrespect April O'Neil like that again.
Okay, I won't. I didn't do it. Michael Bay did, but
That's true. Ugh, ugh. I haven't seen that one. I don't know
I
if it's
haven't
good or
either.
bad. I
I don't
assume it's
really
bad.
care to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, so April O'Neil was probably first crush. And then I was a kid, so I was a big fan of Bob Hoskins' wonderful performance as Super Mario. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely had a crush on Princess Daisy in that movie and John
Oh yeah.
Leguizamo and whatnot. But
I still I really hope that we end up watching that at some point on the show
yeah,
because I really want to watch it again.
I would not be opposed at all.
Yeah.
But when I started to build taste for movies, um, I watched The Rocketeer,
Oh, great
and
film. I love The
great.
Rocketeer.
It's a great film, and I was introduced to the wonderful Jennifer Connelly. So
Ah, Be Still My Heart.
Gen Con,
Good
Gen
old
Con,
Gen Con.
yeah,
She is great.
she is wonderful. She's made some terrible movies, and she's made some
How
scary
dare you, sir?
roles. Dark Water is not a good movie, Blake.
Hey, I like Dark Water, and I was about to mention that one.
Mm. All
It
right.
has Pete Postlewaite in it, you son of a bitch.
I haven't. I have seen Dark Water once, and it's probably been 20 years. So,
There's a strong likelihood that will be a one we watch at some point.
all right. Well, I feel like the more I tell you about movies I don't like, the longer your list gets of movies that we will watch.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I see how
I
this
mean,
game
it's
goes.
gonna be the same thing with you. You're
Yeah,
gonna find movies that I despise, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this.
yeah. This this is how it starts, Blake. This
Yeah,
is our
exactly.
Oasis story.
Yeah,
This is our
exactly.
Oasis story.
It's
Um,
just a matter of what actually breaks us.
yeah, yeah. But okay, back to Dark City. So right after the opening scenes, next scene you see Jennifer Connelly's face, and she is singing this, sultry song, and it's really just all setting this very noir mood that that sets the whole tone of the movie. And so, turns out she's married to uh, Rufus Sewell's character, uh, John, and she gets contacted by William Hurt, the detective, and they're trying to locate him. And while they're trying to locate him, and while he's trying to recover some sort of memory about the situation, he starts getting chased by these weird looking bald men. And
Pale, pale bald men.
pale bald men and children too. Pale
Yes,
bald children. So,
like think like a white pale version of Barlow from Salem's Lot.
yeah, exactly.
Vampiric,
Yes, very vampiric, very strange. They're all in cloaks.
but not
Uh,
they're not vampires.
they're not vampires. They're not
Although they do
vampires.
share some characteristics with them,
Yeah.
like floating.
And then we haven't quite rounded out the great actors
Hmm.
yet. There's one more actor that shows up. And actually, Blake, did you watch the director's cut or did you
I did watch
watch?
the director's. I
Okay,
bought the director's cut,
very nice.
and I
So
watched it real good.
there's one big difference between the director's cut and the theatrical version. The theatrical version has a ton of voiceover from Kiefer Sutherland, who
Ah,
is the doctor
yep.
in the movie, who's John Rufus Sewell's character's psychologist. Um,
Mm.
and there's a ton of voiceover from him, whereas they kick all of that out in the director's cut.
Which is always a
And
good move.
it's always a good move. I don't mind it so much, but you don't need it. You don't
Yeah.
need it in this movie.
Mm.
Um, so you're lost in this maze of the city. People are after this guy. The detectives are after him. The pasty white vampires are after him. Not
Mm.
vampires, but vampire
Yeah.
like people. And the doctor is also after him. His wife is also after him. They're all trying to find him, and he's just searching for his memory. And and I just think it's such a great setup for a
Mm-hmm.
mystery. The setting, everything looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean I could go on and on. It's the it just exudes coolness to me. And I know I'm just saying that because like I feel like a kid again when I watch this movie. But but the rest of the movie um so it's a big mystery about the city itself. And
Mm-hmm.
as John starts to regain his memories and kind of figure things out, he starts looking for areas that he remembers from the past. And so there's this one area called Shell Beach that keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And he, as he starts meeting with other people, he starts asking to go to Shell Beach, and turns out no one can actually remember how to get to Shell Beach. And even weirder, no one can actually remember how to get out of the city,
Yeah.
anywhere out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So again, as John starts exploring more, and the detectives start exploring more, and all these characters kind of start exploring more, they all kind of come to this realization that there's really no way out of this city. And then you have these vampiric men, weird strangers walking
Mm-hmm.
around. And as you spend more time with them and you spend more time with Kiefer Sutherland's character, the doctor, you start realizing that they have a relationship. And then you start seeing the city itself changing in different
Yeah.
ways.
Which I would like to say is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie
Yeah.
is the way that they do that.
It's so good. It's
Yeah,
so good.
they had
So
no right being that good in '98.
in '98, and
Yeah.
it holds up. Like I feel I feel like there's enough practical effect mixed in with, bad CGI and all of this that it really actually holds up.
Hmm.
Um, it
The ending gets a little. It starts testing the boundaries of my my enjoyment of it as far as the effects go.
yes, yeah,
But I still, on the whole, I would say it works. So.
yeah, yeah. I feel like a good way to describe it is if you ever play a really old video game that had great style, but it's old, and so the graphics are really bad in comparison to today's, games, but
Hmm.
you still really enjoy going back to it, and it still
Hmm.
looks great because they actually spent time thinking about the style and
Yeah.
thinking about making
Hmm.
something that was kind of timeless.
Hmm.
And yeah, so back to how the city changes. So these strangers, it turns out they have this ability called tuning,
Hmm.
where they can kind of create realities and they can create pieces of the world, discrete pieces of the world, and all that. Um, and they have built a machine that they hide underneath the city that focuses all of their energy into
Hmm.
really completely reconstructing the city. And so you start seeing that not only are they changing pieces of the city, they're changing everything around, and
Yeah.
they're completely, you know,
Dragging
reordering.
dragging poor people into rich homes and things like
Mhm.
that, and making them wake up again in these like new lives.
Yes, and along with their psychologist friend, they've extracted all of the memories of people
Hmm.
and they mix them up and they re-inject new memories into them. So this kind
So.
of solves this idea of why John, our main character, can't remember anything. So there was something that happened when they were trying to implant a memory into him. It didn't take and it stopped and the process didn't happen. And so it turns out that he's not actually a serial killer. It was just that the memories were built into him and actually didn't get implanted to be that of a serial killer. And so there's some action, there's some adventure that happens, and John, you realize that, oh, he's developed this same ability that they have to kind of reorder the world around him, to tune and
Hmm.
stuff. And so he kind of gets set up as this opposing force to the
Yeah.
strangers. But yeah, and so the movie kind of plays out from there. Some bigger discoveries get made, which is when they start to kind of push forward towards Shell Beach, which is
Hmm.
a big moment in the movie, kind of that rug pulling out moment.
Hmm.
They finally get to Shell Beach and it's just a wall, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, what? This can't be Shell Beach." And so William Hurt and Rufus Sewell start hacking away at the wall. They start going at it. And then it turns out there's nothing beyond the wall.
It's
It's just
space.
space. And so there's this really cool scene where it pans out from that and you just see the city on a disc and it's just floating in space. And you learn the strangers, they are aliens who abducted all of these people. They don't know from where. They never say from Earth
Hmm.
because Earth is a memory. Earth doesn't really exist anymore. But all that is the city.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, going back to kind of like the first time I saw this when I was, I don't know, 12 or 13, I was like, holy shit. Whoa. I definitely had that Matrix experience, that people have when they first see the Matrix and they're like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I know Kung Fu, when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Um, I had that with this movie, and it's still pretty cool. I'm a lot more jaded and experienced at this point. I probably wouldn't have that reaction, but you know, goddamn, it still holds up in
Yeah.
my opinion. I think everyone should watch this movie. But yeah, and
Well,
then
I guess now is the time for me to tell you if I liked it or not.
yeah,
It sucked. I'm just kidding. No, I actually really liked it. Um, so I will admit, earlier in the week, I told you that I rewatched the last half of it. And this is partially because I fell asleep the first night I watched it. It was not because of the movie, it's because I was very tired. But so I went back and watched the last half because I had a strong memory of the first half. After that, it started getting a little bit slippery. And I was like, I have no way of talking about this unless I watch the last half again. So I watched the last half and I really enjoyed it. Not only with all the effects that still hold up, I think. Um, I so the buildings turning into different shapes and things like that. I love that. But there's another scene with Mr. Hand, who is one of the vampiric men. Uh, there's a scene where it's him by himself, and I believe it's when uh, John has gone to Uncle Carl's,
hmm.
and he finds out that he's gone to Uncle Carl's, and he just like levitates up and starts
Hmm.
floating towards the location of Uncle Carl. And I was like, I love this because it didn't look cheesy. It was just nicely done. It was not anything like it was super like simple, not flashy,
Yeah,
just super like it just worked really well. And I thought it was really well framed. And it reminded me of some of those old school like vampire flicks that I love. Um,
yeah.
So I there were certain scenes in this film that I thought were just fantastic. Um, and I think really, to be honest, I think this movie is super, super bleak by the end. Uh,
Yeah.
because basically John just chooses to live a lie. Like it's a better lie, still a lie. But what else do they have? I mean, that's the big question. Is like what
Yeah.
is what is living without real memories and real connections to the past. So, but I found that super bleak
So
because
getting
basically at the end he shapes the ship or whatever it is into Shell Beach or a sunny city with Shell Beach in existence. Um, and he seeks out Jennifer Connelly as one would, uh,
yeah.
and they go to Shell Beach together at the end, and it's supposedly a happy ending, but the whole time I was like, oof, damn,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's
I
rough.
what would you do in that situation? Yeah. But yeah,
I'm
just
not
to,
I'm not sure I would have any better idea, but man, it's just bleak.
yeah.
Like,
I feel I feel like stories like that, you know, they don't they don't really like fit today anymore.
no,
You don't
they
really
don't.
create, you know, worlds that don't have a lot of meaning or aren't connected to anything.
Hmm.
So this movie, it feels weird in that way because yeah, it has kind of this bleakness where you have this city full of people and they're so disconnected from anything else, by the end.
Hmm.
And so it's almost this choice like do you continue to live? And I guess that's the maybe positive thing, less
Oh
bleak
yeah, I mean,
version.
yeah, it's life regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. It's just, man, like, talk about rock in a hard place. You're like choosing between a slightly better lie and another less good lie. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like shit. Like, I mean, I
Well,
guess
yeah.
I'm going with the slightly better one.
Even as I was watching the end this time, I could see how how 2020 or 2022 pilled my brain is.
Yeah.
I was watching John, you know, get together with Jennifer Connelly,
Hmm.
and going, "Wow, that's a that's a bad power dynamic,"
Yeah.
because so to get to this point, he basically has to defeat all of the strangers who I want to point this out. What's their allergy? Did you catch this? This is our
The
second
sun.
Ammonite. No.
Oh,
Well,
I
yes.
mean, their
This is our
allergy
second
is,
M Night
well, it's
Shyamalan.
their, well, well, at some point, like for Mr. Hand, it was the memories,
Yes, yeah. So we can
but
get into that.
I don't remember.
Water.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
He throws Mr. Whoever the big. I always get all the Misters mixed
Yeah,
up,
Mr.
but
Hand's the
like,
only one I remember because
yeah,
he actually feels like
yeah.
the antagonist. So
Yeah, so Mr. Hand, who Blake keeps referencing, gets John's memories injected into him. So he kind of like associates himself with John and he tries to
hmm.
be him. But yeah, they're allergic to water. And so one of the one of the final scenes, John throws one of them into the big water tower and it just explodes.
Yeah,
Um, so
that's
it
fun.
it made me think of Signs and
Yeah.
and yeah. So second M Night Shyamalan reference.
Oh man,
Um,
we're racking them up.
we're
I
racking
like
them
it.
up. I mean, Rufus Sewell, he's the
It's true.
connection.
He is.
Um, but
William Hurt. It's the village.
yeah, oh yeah, William Hurt. Um, so John kind of defeats all the strangers, and then he's the only one who has this ability to tune and basically play God, with the city. And as Blake mentioned, he fills it with sun and he creates water, which the strangers were afraid of. Um, and and yeah, you know, it's still a lie. Yeah, and I remember in different viewings of this, yeah, I come away with different kind of feelings, and
Yeah.
that's definitely one that's been there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, but still, the power dynamic you were talking about is pretty rough there.
yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, you're basically God, and
Yeah.
you're trying to swoon this person who doesn't actually even have her own memories at this
Yeah.
point. But
Yeah. I so actually it was that bleakness that snapped like it. That's the moment where I was like, that's why he picked Severance in rehearsal as homework, because we are recording this in the wake of the final episode of the first season of the rehearsal, and Jamison and I clearly have differing opinions on whether Nathan Fielder is a good person or not. So it could get pretty intense in this discussion. I don't even know if Jamison heard any of that.
I heard all of it, Blake.
Oh, beautiful.
I I don't. Do we disagree that much? I think Nathan Fielder is a good person, actually.
Well, I think he's a good person in real life, but
Yes.
that's
Okay.
kind of beyond the point. Like like that's not what he's really going. Like he doesn't care about that ultimately. Like he wants to break down persona,
Yeah.
like on-screen persona. What is on-screen persona? Especially after his pretty highly acclaimed first show, Nathan for You.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like this is the way I've been trying to explain to my wife to get her to watch it since she despised Nathan for You. I'm like, no, you don't understand. The rehearsal is basically him looking at Nathan for You and saying, "Was this the right thing to do?" like, am I just laughing at these people, or am I actually trying? Like, what is it to be this person? And I mean, there's other stuff going on. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's a pretty central question he's asking
Yeah.
within the scope of the rehearsal.
I actually agree a lot with that. I get that feeling when I watch the rehearsal. So, yeah, so I chose as homework watching the rehearsal, which I knew you were already doing, so I
Yeah,
knew it wasn't much homework. And then also Severance, which I'll come clean. I finished Severance, but I didn't really do much thinking about Severance in the
I
past
didn't
two
either.
weeks.
I
Okay,
didn't either.
we
Yeah,
don't have to talk about it. The only thing I'll say with Severance is my weird theory with that show is that there's a Dark City thing going on with that.
oh yeah, totally. I think I think they share a common DNA.
Yeah,
I think whatever the corporation is that is at uh, that is like at the core of Severance is manipulating these people
yeah,
because we don't even know if this town that they live in exists or if this is like another Dark
yeah,
City situation. So we don't really. And by the end of the first season, you don't know anything at that point. You're like, all of this could be just BS. So,
yeah. Because in Severance, and you watch it, you think that there's a real world, and you think that there's kind of a separate world. It's also real. That's
yeah,
what's interesting about Severance is it's kind of like the Matrix in a way, but it's not in that everything is taking place in the same timeline. It's just separate things. It's severed realities. Um,
yeah,
and but as you kind of explore more in Severance, you get this feeling of being trapped in the place that you're in the city that you thought maybe not just not just trapped inside the workplace that these people whose lives are severed work in, but even one step outside of that, you have kind of this maze of a city starting to go on.
hmm
So that's all I wanted to say with Severance. Is as I watched it,
hmm
it just made me think of Dark City all the time. So
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. As far, it doesn't do much with memory or anything like that because it's not as interested in memory as Dark City is. Um, but I definitely think that that was a really good connection to make, and I think Severance has its own interesting connections with a lot of things, Scientology being one,
mm,
um, and capitalism being the other. Um,
yeah,
the work life dynamic. As as two
yeah,
guys who work in corporate life, we hear that all the time.
yep. Blake, have you been quiet quitting?
Have I been quiet quitting in my
Have you
head?
been quiet quitting?
No, not yet.
Uh,
I could
have
see a world in which I do.
there? Well, so at first I thought like the term quiet quitting was it's been floating around. It was like, oh, you just, quietly quit, you ghost your job or you go away. But when you read more about it, it's just a term that means you're not putting in 150%
Yeah,
anymore. And
you're putting in like 80 or
eight
60.
or even 100 while you're on the clock and then just not answering emails after. And so I was shocked to find that out because I was like, no, your job should be in service of the rest of your life, not the other way around.
Yeah,
That just should be
exactly.
normal. It shouldn't be called quitting or anything like that.
No,
Yeah.
it
So,
should be it should be work. Just another part of your regular life.
yeah.
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 Yeah, Severance, we highly recommend Severance, and it
Hi.
does.
Yeah.
And I do think you should watch Dark City and Severance back to back. It would be a good pairing.
It
Um,
is a good pairing, yeah.
but I do think that the rehearsal has the deeper connective tissue, um, especially knowing how the Dark City plays with the idea of like, what is it to be human if all of your memories are false? Which I think is a pretty compelling argument. Um, it's not one that I've put a whole lot of thought to. It's crossed my mind a couple times here and there, but I think it's this idea that like memories are what help us connect the tissues of everyday life. It's what helps us connect tissues to friends and family. It's what helps us um, connect time, like
Hmm.
existence, like our past and our present and our future. Um, Memories are key to being human. And if all of that is false, what does that make us? It makes us still living, but what does that do to humanity? And if everything is just planned, like it is in the rehearsal, okay, so you'll find this humorous. So we
Yes.
had a friend come over last night, and I was trying to explain to her Nathan for you in the rehearsal, and she's on Twitter, and so she was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen people like constantly talking about rehearsal on Twitter. Like, what is it?" And I was like, "It's really hard to explain, but here I'll try to give you the basics, and you can watch it for yourself. All this stuff." So I explained her to her basically Nathan for you, and then like how he's like trying to break that down in rehearsal and all this stuff, and like I was saying that like at the final scene of the rehearsal the first season, I had a bit of hope that he actually became emotive, like truly
Hmm.
emotive. And by that point I had explained like everything that he'd been doing in the rehearsal, and she's like, or he's just making you think that. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, god.
Yeah, that's the big question. The whole time you're watching the rehearsal is what is Nathan Fielder up to?
Yeah,
What is he up to? And and I think this is where my mind keeps going, and this is why I kept thinking of Dark City was Nathan Fielder is trying to create emotions, trying to create real narratives with discrete objects
yeah,
and put things together and atomize what makes us human. And that is problematic.
yeah.
Just that premise, the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. Because again, like your friend did, you can always question, like, oh, did you get that right? Is that equation right? Are
Mm-hmm.
you sure? Are you sure there's not something else that we're not considering?
Yeah,
And that's where it kind of goes back to Dark City is these strangers. So Nate, it's so interesting to me because I was like, I wonder, okay, what character is Nathan Fielder? Is he John?
no,
Is he
he's definitely the Pellman.
is
I
he the
mean,
pale man?
it's
Or is he Kiefer Sutherland?
Hmm.
And I see
Hmm.
bits and pieces of him in all of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
ultimately, the Dark City is this story. So you could look at it like this story about a man who's trying to regain his memory and then figure out what to do, or you could look at it as this story of these people, the strangers, trying to figure out what it's like to be human. Because you also learn as they're explained more that they're actually dying out, and what's
Hmm.
kind of killing them, even though they're very powerful, is they don't have souls, and it's not really explained how that's killing them, but that's their whole experiment, is they just want to
Yeah.
figure out the human soul. And it's almost like they're clearly monsters, they're
Yeah.
clearly vampiric, but you have this but when you hear what they're just trying to do, it's almost like you have this sympathy for them, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
A weird, sick, twisted sympathy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And they're bad, they've abducted you,
Hmm.
they're parasites in a sense, and actually they are parasites. when
Hmm.
when their bodies are broken, you see kind of this alien form kind of come out of them.
Hmm.
um but yeah, they are kind of like this ultimate science of of trying to scientifically evaluate what it's like to be human and put it
Hmm.
together that way. And and in some ways, that's the character Nathan Fielder is playing in the rehearsal.
Well, and the reason why I keep saying that he's definitely the Pale Man is because he almost literally changes the sets.
Hmm.
He's the guy who changes the set each time, rearranges things, tries to look at it from a different perspective, tries to find what causes human emotion, all this stuff. Like
Yeah.
he I think he's better. His motivation is perhaps better than the strangers, but ultimately the the means is the same.
Yeah. Nathan Fielder is a person, is a
Hmm.
human. So
Yes,
as sociopathic as you can make him.
admittedly, admittedly, very socially awkward, and
Yeah.
it it's part of his comedy
Hmm.
is he uses that to the comedic advantage, um, in very fascinating ways a lot of times.
Hmm.
Um, I think the biggest, so the final episode. I don't want to weirdly I don't want to spoil the rehearsal because it just feels too special to
It's
spoil.
it's a pretty beautiful moment in TV, and
Yeah,
the final episode aired less than a week ago.
yeah.
So
So I'm you'll know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
but I'm going to vaguely allude to a certain scene on the final episode that just made my stomach bottom out.
Mm,
Like that made me question Nathan Fielder as a human being.
yeah.
And that was when he went to a specific person's house with uh, his quote unquote son, and it is initially with the audience's intent that he is going to just you know have them play together and
Hmm.
whatnot, and you come away realizing no, he this was part of his plan, and I was just like, oh no.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, fuck.
So one of the
That was the
things,
scene that killed me.
yeah,
It killed me.
one of the consistent things in the show that's used for a lot of comedy too,
Oh, it is.
and
Yeah.
is that he is constantly asking people, actors. So he employs a lot of actors to study other people and learn their habits, and he does that too for a few people. And so that's kind of a main a joke or thing that happens kind of throughout the show at different times. Um, and what Blake is talking about is this moment where you think that there's this true human connection,
Hmm.
and then as soon as the camera pans away from that human interaction, you realize, oh, he was just doing that thing. He was
Yeah.
just stealing their essence.
He was doing the research.
He was doing the research. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it was, yeah, it's a trip. It's such a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, so there's another movie that a lot of people are connecting this with. So if you read anything about the rehearsal, there was a movie called Synecdoche, New York.
Never seen it. Heard about it.
Oh, uh, interesting fact about Synecdoche, New York. That was the first movie that Kira and I went to see together. So
Oh wow.
Kira is my wife. I think refer to her as my wife, but Kira is her name. Um, yeah. So that was our first kind of date film, which eh, I'm lucky that she stuck with me because that's not a Charlie Kaufman films aren't great date movies.
No. No.
Well,
He
I
if
take that back. There's one good one.
if there's if there is a person that I think is truly a malcontent nihilist in the world, it is Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he's probably a piece of shit in real life.
Probably,
A
probably.
genius. Don't get me wrong, a genius. But I would probably never want to be around the man.
Yes, yeah. But I will say, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which he didn't direct, he just wrote. That
Yeah.
that's a good date movie. So,
Yeah. Michael Gondry uh, is
mhm,
is someone I really like. So,
yeah, yeah. But
or Michel
this,
Gondry, if you're French.
yeah, I don't think anyone from France has listened to our podcast yet, so
Not
I think
yet.
you're safe. We're keeping
What?
tabs on the international
Who?
structure of
Who?
it.
Who did we have? What
I
was the?
think
Oh, Mexico.
we had Mexico, we had Sweden, we had I
Sweden.
think Canada, but I'm not sure.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Sweden.
Sweden.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I don't want to. If I guess we do have Canada, so maybe there is a French-speaking person listening. So
No, possibly.
you might be in trouble. But yeah, if you're French, you're welcome to listen. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
we
definitely.
didn't mean to mispronounce.
That's
Uh,
just know I'm a British history guy, and so I naturally tend to not like the French. So sorry.
yeah, yeah.
It's not my fault. It was bred into me.
Well, when we have our inevitable Oasis split, I'll take all the French listeners.
Okay, sounds good.
I get them all.
I'll take all the ne'er do well imperialists.
Okay. But yeah, so Synecdoche, New York is about Philip Seymour Hoffman is in it, and he does kind of a similar thing. He wants to build this play that encompasses real life, and he builds these structures again. And I see the point with that too, and he kind of gets lost in his
Yeah,
own construction. Um,
I feel like
but
you could almost make that case with American Splendor too. Paul
yeah,
Giamatti.
yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
It's
been a while.
very sad movie,
Oh, very super sad. Yeah.
but but yeah. So that's another movie. I kept coming back to Dark City because I was seeing kind of Nathan in these stranger characters. Um, but yeah, ultimately in the rehearsal, it it starts off. I think you mentioned this. It starts off kind of like a continuation of
Mm-hmm.
Nathan for You, and then it becomes this question of, was Nathan for You a good thing?
Yeah.
Was I treating people with dignity? And
Well,
I,
and how that truth comes out is one of the greatest moments of television.
yeah,
Whenever the actor delivers that line, that monologue to him,
hmm
I was like, "Holy sh!"
yeah. So in the show, in the rehearsal, there's supposed to be this real person, and this is where, I get kind of trapped in Nathan Fielder's mind,
Mm-hmm.
where I don't know if any of these people are all actors. Maybe they are,
Mm-hmm.
but you're being told that this person is real. So pretty soon after the first episode, this setup of this house in Oregon, where there's this lady who lives there named Angela, and she wanted to rehearse raising a child. So she wanted to
From
experience
birth to 18.
from birth to 18. And Nathan in his weird mind was like, perfect, let's build that for you somehow. So
Yeah,
they decided to do it in like 3 months by taking child actors and switching them out.
because
Um,
child actors can only work so long
they can
within
only
a
work so long.
production.
And they also need to age this kid from 0 to 18 in the course of 3 months. But as you start seeing these people kind of living their daily lives, you start realizing, oh, these aren't actors. They're not thinking about always looking good on camera or always looking,
Mm-hmm.
well, supposedly not actors. So you start seeing some kind of nasty things come out. Some things that don't necessarily paint these people in these great lights,
Mm-hmm.
and and then that kind of builds this question of like, okay, Nathan, why are you showing us this ugliness? Are you just trying to make
Mm-hmm.
fun of this person? Is this what it is? And then at some point, because the show keeps all of these meta levels
Yeah,
and it
so
keeps
many,
them building
so many.
so many. Um, he hires someone as an actor version of Angela, so he could practice conversations that he's going to have with Angela with this, so he can rehearse them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's this scene, I think around the fourth episode or fifth episode,
Mm-hmm.
where fake Angela just lays into him and tells him like, so what was this all for? Am I the joke? And
Mm-hmm.
I can't do the monologue
Yeah,
justice, but it's great.
and it's
um
powerful.
it's powerful,
And
jaw
that's
dropping.
that's a that's almost a moment where you actually like. Part of me wonders if Nathan was even thrown off by that. Like even like whatever persona he's going for in the show, like that was so effectively done
Hmm.
that I can't imagine him not being somewhat thrown off by that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, who knows? You never know. He could be in the back thinking, I planned this all.
yeah, it's true.
But, I do think I get the feeling that and this was actually a thing in Nathan for You, although kind of more subdued. You get this feeling that he's also playing this character who wants to find connection.
Hmm.
And there are some inroads made into the real Nathan Fielder too, in the first episode, he talks briefly, ever so briefly, and then he makes a joke about how briefly he talked about it, about how he was married for 3 years and then he had this divorce. And so you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of see there, there are some wounds in this person. And that's actually a real detail about Nathan Fielder, too.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some nuggets of reality.
I mean, his
But
parents show up
are
in Nathan for You and in rehearsal.
are they his real parents? I didn't look that
Well, yeah,
up.
I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a touch that'd be a nice touch
Yeah.
for him to actually have his real parents.
I will say, I think we've been getting into the meta levels of this, and maybe we're selling it a little short. I do want to assure our listeners who maybe haven't watched it yet, there are moments of genuine
Oh
human
yeah,
humanity caught on screen. And some of
yes,
that is actually due to children actors that he
mm-hmm.
employs. So
Yeah,
uh, that's one thing where I think that's an interesting layer because you can't, as much as you can try, you can't coach, you know, you can't coach the this humanity out of them. You
yeah,
can't, you know, you can't make them perfect actors, and
yeah,
kids just can't do that. And you see that. You see the kids kind of breaking in different ways,
mm-hmm.
and and I that actually lends itself to one of the biggest emotional cores of the show too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I would say it's probably the central
yeah,
emotional core.
yes, yeah. But interestingly, um, kind of on this topic of him questioning whether or not Nathan for You was a good experiment. There's a famous scene in Nathan for You where he's done this stunt with this gas station where he's somehow convinced them to lower their prices to like $1 or something like that per gallon of gas. But then there's this catch where, oh, they have to go, you know, get it as a rebate. And in order to do that, they have to like travel up this mountain and then
Yeah.
go on a camping trip with Nathan. So he does that and then he returns and it turns out that, you know, the gas station owner, he got all of this business and then didn't actually have to pay these deductions back, and that was kind of the whole like scheme of it.
Yeah.
But then he's talking to this gas station owner, and he catches this moment where this gas station owner admits that when he's scared because he's sick or something like that, he drinks his grandson's pee. And it's this insane moment of TV where someone is admitting to this wild, wild thing. And that's actually been, that plays the viral rounds all the time. I see it
Mm-hmm.
come up in Twitter, every 6 months or
Yep.
something like that. And it's pretty strange. And I've always kind of wondered, like, if Nathan regrets kind of getting that on camera
Yeah.
because, you know, I always wonder, is this real? It seems kind of
Yeah.
strange. And, this person, this kind of random person is getting this ridicule for something we're perceiving as the reality of the situation, that he's actually doing this or
Well, and the weird part is at various moments during Nathan for You, when I watched the whole show, when it just overstepped bounds of believability for me, like jumped the shark. It felt like it jumped the shark. I would look it up, and it was always real. And I was
mm,
like, "What the hell?"
yeah.
Like, the store was actually like there was a store. It was like
The
located
dump.
here. And I was
Yeah,
like, what? Like,
yeah. But so why I brought that up is there's a scene. It actually I think is the opening scene of the fourth episode in the rehearsal where he is making this video with this kid, and the kid is playing Dr. Farts, and it's this hilarious back and forth with someone who's playing his son, and they're having this fun thing, but it ends with Nathan being diagnosed with cancer by this child doctor,
Dr.
and
Farts,
Dr. Farts, and then Dr. Farts telling him that he has to eat poop,
his poop.
his poop, in order to heal his cancer. And that to me is like, oh, this is
And
a
it
clear,
shows Nathan eating like something that looks like poop. It's like a
it's a
cracker
Twix
with
bar, yeah,
chocolate on it. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like a
But
melted Twix bar.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I that's a clear connection to this, this past thing. And you could see in the back of his mind, oh, he's thinking about this. He's thinking about the people that he's put on blast. And then interestingly, he tries to convince Angela. I think it's one of like the funniest uh, bits in the show. He tries to
Yeah.
convince her like the kid came up with it, and he was like, "Oh, he was just riffing," you know.
Like you have to escalate.
Yeah, you got to escalate. You got to keep escalating. So
I
yeah,
mean that was a really funny moment, but most of the like belly laugh moments come when he's talking about using HBO's money.
yes, yeah.
I mean it's hilarious.
Well, I think everybody is wondering what was his budget? How
Yeah.
was he able to do some of these things? It must have been huge. Because in the first episode, in order to rehearse the things that he needs to rehearse, he ends up building a replica of a bar that's, just a whole full scale replica of a bar just so they can kind of rehearse it. And then he fills it with actors, and you're thinking, wow, like if you're an accountant, you're just
Hmm.
going crazy, like adding
Yeah.
up these numbers. And then so that starts in New York. Second episode, he's back on the West Coast. He's in Oregon. And you're watching it, and all of a sudden he says, yeah, and I transported my bar to Oregon
Yeah.
so I would have some place to go. And you're like, what?
And he talks about at one point whenever they're going through the months of raising the child, and he's saying, yeah, I just felt like I really needed to find a connection with my son, but it had like, oh no, it was I need to have this conversation with Angela, uh, but and it needs to be during the winter, but it turns out that winter is really costly to keep going, and it like pans out and you see all these blowers blowing fake snow
Yeah,
around this house, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's so good. I feel like this
Oh,
turned into the rehearsal and not Dark City.
no, we did a good job talking about Dark City. Um, yeah, but
Although I
the
kind of
rehearsal
knew
is
this was
also
going to
good.
happen.
Yeah, yeah,
It was fine.
it was fine. It was fine. Rehearsal was fine.
It's
Severance was
fine.
fine. Yeah,
Dark City's fine. No, just kidding. All great. All great.
yeah. Recommended across the board. Watch all of these things. Well, Blake, did you have any final thoughts or comments about the rehearsal?
I feel like you wanted to point out the Alyssa Wilkinson
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah,
reference
yeah.
with rehearsal, and I think
So
this could kind of play into Dark City to some extent as well.
yeah, yeah. There was an article that I was reading, and I think I sent it to you. It was so Alyssa Wilkinson is the head film critic, or maybe something else over
Something similar to that.
at
Vox. Yeah.
Vox, and she wrote an article about the rehearsal, And I think she wrote a follow up that I haven't read yet. Once the season finale has gone, but this was the one. We were only like 4 episodes into the rehearsal at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and she wrote about it. And she wrote about all these kind of interpretations of how you might take the show. And I think we've already touched on a bunch of them. Um, but the last one she talks about is actually, she mentions another article, uh, an article in the publication Forward written by PJ Grishar, who brings up this concept, this Kabbalic concept of Zimzum, um, and kind of relates. So Nathan Fielder is Jewish, and he explores that in the show too. But this author was kind of relating it to this bigger, larger kind of religious tradition that I don't know a lot about, but from reading this article, it's about kind of creating worlds, um, and kind of putting them together, um, through discrete pieces and trying to form different things. So I thought it
And
was
he's
really, yeah,
and he
interesting.
specifically ties it with like this idea of like, it's almost like he's creating a creation story of
Hmm.
sorts. So like there's Adam is the name of the son, and
Yeah,
there's like all these like weird like ties with like the characters, the actors or characters, depending on what you believe, um, and how they play into the story. It's very, it's got some at least seeming connections to the Torah, things like that. So it's really fascinating.
yeah. One of the side stories in the rehearsal is about these two brothers who are fighting over an
Mm-hmm.
inheritance.
Yeah.
So you have, Genesis connections there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely
Yep.
Genesis.
Fascinating
We
stuff.
keep talking about Genesis.
Yep.
I can't get away from them. But yeah, it's very fascinating, and you got to think that, none of this was lost on Nathan. Naming the son Adam was
Yeah.
definitely, it has it has that feel to it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I don't really have much more.
yeah. So we'll put those articles up on,
Yeah.
uh, just so our fans can kind of dig into this more. But definitely they should just watch the rehearsal, watch Dark
And Dark
City,
City.
and
Watch
then
Severance.
Severance as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's my time to pick the next movie, huh?
Yep.
So, I told you earlier in the day that I was warring inside of myself on two different picks.
Hmm.
I felt like we had been super heavy, like
Things have been
thematically.
dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things have been a little dark, and I'll say that this one was a little less so than the last couple weeks, but they've been a little heavy on the heavier side. So part of me was like, do I want to continue it on, or do I want to lighten it up a little bit? Because this will be the last one before we take a brief break and do a October series, that we'll talk about more next time. Um, but I think I'm gonna go with the light.
Okay.
Um, I feel like we need some comedy. Um,
Ooh.
so so I'm gonna give you a couple of pieces that I'm gonna have you read. Um, and see if you can take a stab at what I'm gonna have you watch. Okay, so uh, I'm gonna have you read Mark Fisher's What is Hauntology,
Okay.
and I'm gonna somewhat selfishly give you one of my own pieces to read,
All right.
uh, on VHS and memory, and how we interact with past technology that required us to use our memory to interact with films.
Hmm.
those are going to be the two main articles. I may come up with some other stuff along the way, but those are going to be the central elements. Now, I will give you another hint. The
Okay.
director of this film was mentioned during this
Oh
episode.
my God, are we watching Be Kind Rewind?
We are.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. When you said VHS, that's where my mind went. And
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. I think you would have guessed the other one too, the other pick I had,
what?
but
Yeah.
well, we'll save that. We'll
Oh
do it.
yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah,
Save
yeah.
it. Put it on. Put
We'll
it on
save
the
it.
list.
It's not going away. It's
Okay.
just going to be later. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But we are going to watch a personal favorite of mine, "Be Kind, Rewind," um, which is
Yes.
a delightful little film. And I think there's a lot of really fascinating stuff to talk about
Yeah.
with it as well.
Most
Um,
definitely.
no, nicely done. Nicely done. So, yeah, be looking forward to Be Kind Rewind next week. Or not next week, in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Probably two
We keep
weeks.
saying next week, and we'll do that during Halloween, but
We're gonna assume that you're
most of
gonna
the time,
listen to this in a week, so it will be
exactly.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, I'm very excited about Be Kind Rewind. I haven't
So you
watched it
do,
in a while,
so you
so
do have some, so you do have some background with it.
yes, I've seen it
Good,
before,
good.
but
All right.
it's been about 10 years, so I will
I
definitely be watching it with new eyes.
I had not seen Dark City,
Okay,
so
that
it was a first time for me,
I'm very
and
happy.
I liked it way better than The Matrix. I have seen The Matrix in the last 3 or 4 years, and it did not hold up in my opinion. So
Yeah, I think it's the better of the movies.
yeah,
I still think it holds up. It's very unique. I do hope that it gets kind of more people revisiting it
yeah,
because I think it deserves it. Probably deserves a
hmm
Criterion, you know, revision
yeah,
or whatever. It'll
exactly.
get that. I personally think it's Alex Proyas's best movie. We actually
Yeah,
didn't spend any time talking about him, but he's the director of The Crow. He also
and I
did
Robot,
iRobot and Knowing,
mm,
uh, and
knowing,
and most recently Gods of Egypt. Ugh, I don't know,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
That's unfortunate.
this was also before David Goyer uh, sold his soul to DC and just
Yes.
yeah. So this is it was written by him. So uh, you've got yeah. This I think Dark City is probably my favorite of those movies. I mentioned it before, but Existence comes in probably like close second behind that.
hmm I mean,
But
it's Cronenberg.
oh yeah, that one still holds up.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to. I think you're right. I think bringing a comedy in, bringing
hmm
something with such a giant heart.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very much looking forward to this,
Yeah.
and I'm also looking forward to diving into hauntology and reading your
Well,
piece.
you're going to be reading the central article on it, so
Yeah. I will
because
turn on caretaker
there you
while I
go.
do that.
So Mark Fisher and the caretaker actually often work together, collaborated a lot. Um, but Mark Fisher is no longer with us. He took his own life
Mm.
a few years back. So, um, but yeah, he's a brilliant writer. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on hauntology. I think it'll be resonant with a lot of things in the current everyday life of our existence right now. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I've been thinking about it most of the time, and it's part of the reason why I picked Be Kind Rewind. I felt like of all the films that deal with it, it's got the biggest heart, and it's the most fun to watch. So
Very cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think I think we've done it. I think this is going to be our shortest episode if we end now.
Now.